Nothing short of absolute drama. But honestly, what do you expect in this case with all of its twists and turns? I'm talking, of course, about the case where Atlanta prosecutors allege that Williams is one of the founders.
So, yeah, look at Thug right there. You know, when he went into jail, he was like 140 pounds and he's 6'3". I've actually seen him in person in Atlanta. I'm like 6'4". So yeah, he's a tall guy, but now I think he's well over 200 pounds. What's going on, Thug? Maybe he's just so depressed he's not trying to exercise. He just stays locked up in his cell. But let's continue and get to this reaction of YSL Booty.
Of YSL, or Young Slime Life, which they claim is a criminal street gang that has been terrorizing the city. It's part of a wide sweeping racketeering, or RICO, indictment where Williams and his co-defendants are charged with numerous crimes. The defense says